to heal. It never stops. Till the day you die, it never stops trying to recover from whatever bad we're doing. But it's really hard for the body to heal when it's acidic and when it's toxic and when it's dehydrated. And everybody that has any health problem has them because they're acidic, toxic, and dehydrated to one extent or another. And the more acidic you are, the more toxic you are, the more dehydrated you are, the more pain you're going to have, the more health problems you're going to have, the sooner you're going to die. I mean, that's really how it works. So the key to unleashing the body's innate ability to heal itself is to make the body alkaline rather than acidic, because all the pathogens, cancer and all the other things, fungus, mold, yeast, virus, mycoplasma, they all thrive in the acidic, low oxygen environment. They cannot thrive in the high oxygen, alkaline environment. So you want to restore that alkaline pH, and there's nothing in the world that does it better than this water. The other thing is that because water is so essential to every function in the body, being dehydrated contributes hugely to all health conditions, including cancer. Because when you're dehydrated, that's going to make you more acidic and toxic because you need the water to flush out the toxins and to neutralize the acids. And if you're dehydrated, how are you going to do that? So the water alkalizes the body better than anything in the world. I mean, any medicine, any treatment, any herb, any drug, anything. The water hydrates the body more effectively than any liquid in the world, and nothing detoxes the body. Nothing detoxes, not zeolite, not EDTA, not bentonite clay, not chlorella. I mean, nothing detoxes the body more effectively or efficiently than Kangen water. So the three things that need to happen for the body to be able to heal itself all depend on exactly what Kangen water does. So the water doesn't heal you. It's the body's innate ability to heal itself. What the water does is it enables the body to get back into the balance it needs so that it can start healing by making new healthy cells and repairing damaged cells. So that's what he's going through. So they sent him home to die, and they said he only had a day to live, 2 at the very most. And the last thing they told her was, don't give him anything to drink at all, absolutely nothing, or he'll die as soon as you do. So when I give my seminar there, the last guy stood in line. It was like after midnight, I was answering questions, and this guy came up to me and he said, my best friend's dying of cancer. And he told me the story like I just told you about the cancer in 5 organs and everything. And can your water save them? And because I've shared in my presentation that evening how I'd reversed cancer with several people with the water and stuff. UCLA Medical Center sent a guy home to die, and we reversed his liver cancer, and so on and so on and so on. And I said, well, I can't promise you that it can cure his cancer. That would be illegal for me to say that. And I don't really know because I don't know your friend, and I don't know how far gone he is. I don't know if he's still doing chemo. I don't know. There's so many factors I'm not aware of, but I will tell you this. Everything I said tonight is true. And there isn't anything that anybody can do that's more beneficial to healing or reversing or preventing cancer or any other condition than drinking this water in meaningful amounts. I mean, that's absolutely true. So this guy took me at my word. He'd been listening to me for 3 hours, and he got out his credit card and bought the machine. And I said, well, here's the thing. You're going to have to pay extra $100 to have an overnight delivery, because if you wait 5 days for it to arrive normal delivery, the morphine will already have killed him. So we've got to get it there immediately. So that's what we did. The next day, he took 6 gallons of water over to his friend's house. He gave it to his wife, Lisa, and said, give this water to Charles. It might save his life. And he told her all about listening to me and what I'd said about the cancer and everything. And she said, well, I can't give it to him. Doctor's orders. They said, absolutely no liquids, because, you look at him. He hasn't urinated now in 68 days. He hasn't urinated. So, I mean, he's all this fluid's backed up in his body. And they said, if I give him anything to drink, it'll kill him. So the friend that bought the machine was really disappointed. He said, well, I hope you change your mind, because really, if he's going to die tomorrow from the morphine, what's the difference? What do you got to lose to try, So after he left, the family talked it over, and they decided, well, he's right. What do we got to lose? And, since just sitting here waiting for the morphine to kill him, why don't we try the water? What could it hurt? Well, Charles was on so much morphine that he was basically almost comatose. It's like he didn't even know his friend was there talking to him and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So he couldn't hold a glass. Even when the family decided to give him the water, he literally couldn't hold a glass and drink it. Wow. So he was too weak. So Lisa, being a nurse and being devoted and dedicated to him and everything, she got a glass of Kangen water and a tablespoon, and she gave it to him 1 spoon at a time, just like a little baby food. She spoon fed him 1 tablespoon at a time of that water all night long. When everybody else went to bed, she didn't. She was devoted to him. She loved him dearly. She stood by his bedside nonstop. hour after hour, giving him 1 tablespoon of water at a time. Half of it ran down his chin, his shirt's wet, the bed's wet. She kept giving it to him. When the glass is empty, she'd fill it up and do it again and do it again. And all night long, she kept hoping and praying and wondering, how can I get more water in him? I'm spilling so much of it here, trying to get him to drink it when he's almost unconscious, you know. So that next morning, when the hospice nurses and her 3 daughters were there with her, and Charles's brothers were there, when they all woke up, she said, you guys keep an eye on Charles. I got to go to the store. So she went to the store and bought a baby bottle, which was brilliant. So she comes home from the store with a baby bottle, and she cuts a bigger hole in the nipple and fills it with Kangen water and holds it in his mouth and whispers in his ear, Charles, drink this, drink this. So he kept doing it. And, that was brilliant, because he's got a lot more water in him that way. And after a day of giving him that water nonstop, he didn't die. His lungs didn't fill up. He didn't die like the doctors had said and everything. So she kept giving the water. And after the second day, he was doing better. He was actually having more energy, like a wilted plant, when you give it water and it starts to come back to life right before your eyes. That's what's happening to Charles. On the third day, he was not only still alive, but he's sitting up in bed talking to his daughters, talking to his brothers, and full of energy. And a lot of his pain is starting to go away. Oh, I forgot to tell you this. I'm sorry. This is so important, I think. But he had this edema so severely that his legs were splitting open from his hips to his ankles. I mean, the skin was just splitting open, and water would seep out of his skin all day long. And they'd wrap his legs in bath towels, and then have to change them over and over because they kept getting wetter and wetter. And that's the only way his body could get rid of fluids. I mean, he was really in bad shape, and that was extremely painful. So I had him on so much morphine. But after the third day, his pain was starting to go away, and they actually were backing off and giving him less morphine. Well, that doesn't usually happen in hospice care. Usually hospice care is like, they mean well. They don't want you to suffer, but it's like taking your dog to the vet. They'll put him to sleep. That's what hospice care. The morphine blocks pain, but it also kills you. And, I've seen it happen. I've literally been in the hospital and watched them give it to my mother the day she died, and I watched them give it to my uncle the day he died, and it's not pleasant,
Wow.
But, so that's where he is. But now they're backing off on the morphine. He doesn't need as much. And he keeps drinking the water. And that evening, on the third day of drinking the water, the hospice nurses every day, they got nothing to do. They're sitting there waiting for him to die, basically. And they've never seen anybody ever in their career that was in his shape that survived. So they certainly think he's not going to, just like the doctors were sure he wasn't going to. But they want something to do while they're there. So, they'll routinely check his blood pressure 2 or 3 times a day. They'll check his blood sugar a couple times a day, just something to do. And routinely they would check his catheter every day. So that evening on the third day of drinking the water, when they checked his catheter, it was full of urine. He had not urinated in 71 days, and now his catheter's full of urine. So this blew their minds. They thought, oh, what is going on here? They called their supervisor of hospice nursing and told her, and she said, that's impossible. Kidneys don't come back to life after 70 days. It's impossible. It can't be urine. Got to be some other fluid. And the nurse told her, said, look, I've been doing this a long time. I know what urine looks like, and I certainly know what it smells like, and this is urine. She said, well, don't dump the catheter. I got to see this for myself. So she gets in her car, the supervisor of nursing, and drives out to Charles's home and verifies that it's really urine. And they're like, oh my gosh, what's going on here? So long story short, they kept giving him the water and giving him the water. On the 6th day on the water, he said to his wife, Lisa, honey, I feel like I really got to go to the bathroom. Will you help me get out of bed? So she sits him up and gets him out of his deathbed, and he walks into the bathroom with a catheter, and he goes in there and urinates. And that day, the hospice nurses packed up and left. They said, we've never seen anything like this. It's a miracle, we think. You don't need us, so we got to go where people really need us, and you clearly don't. Oh,
wow.
My phone's about to go dead, so just give me a second here. I got to plug it in real quick.
Make sure the pepper isn't activating either.
So anyway, okay, I got it. Ooh, that was close. You know how your phone gets real dim before it goes out? I forgot.
Yeah.
So anyway, the hospice nurses packed up and left. They said, you don't need us. And his daughters went home to their families. His brothers went home to their families because he was clearly not dying anymore. He just kept drinking the water. And after 6 weeks on the water, he goes to his local hometown doctor for a checkup, Rockford, Illinois, a suburb of Rockford, Love's Park it's called. And he goes for a checkup, and the doctor can't find anything wrong with him. All of his vital signs are perfect. All of his numbers are perfect. And he couldn't see any evidence of cancer anywhere in his body. So he can't believe it. So he calls the University of Wisconsin up at Madison that's been treating him for 5.5 years because he's the one that sent him up there, And he told them, the oncology team, that I've got Charles Linderman in my office, And all his numbers are perfect. He seems perfectly healthy, and I can't see any evidence of cancer. And they said, well, that's impossible. We can't even believe he's alive. We sent him home 6 weeks ago with a day to live. He shouldn't even be alive, but it's impossible, literally impossible for him to be cancer-free after 5.5 years like this. And the doctor said, well, I know, but here I'm seeing him, and he looks great. He feels great. He's pain-free. And they said, well, send him back here to us. We have better diagnostic procedures at our hospital than you do in your office. So they took him back up to the same hospital that sent him home to die 6 weeks earlier. They kept him for 3 days of tests. They did every test they could do: MRI, ultrasound, CAT scan, PET scan, blood work, x-rays, biopsy, everything you could do. They can't find one single cell of cancer anywhere in his body. And it never came back. They told his wife, watch him closely, because in this spontaneous remission, we can't explain it, but it always comes back with a vengeance, and it will soon. So keep a close eye on him. Well, it never came back, and it healed his kidneys. He never had to go back on dialysis. After a year and a half of 3 days a week of dialysis, just to stay alive, he never had to go back on it again. And that's one story. And I could literally tell you hundreds of them. And a lot of them just as incredible, just as incredible.
Right. It's hard to choose which stories to
y'all
share,
see this shit?
so many people.
Y'all,
Thank
man,
you
I'm
so
telling you,
much
this shit
for taking
legit,
the time
bro.
to share this evening.
This is true
We do have to
testimonials.
wrap it up. I could sit here and listen for hours. I know
True
many of us
testimonials.
could
Y'all
have
think this shit a
conversations for
game,
hours
bro?
as well
This shit
too, but
changing
let's
people's
do this.
lives.
Stu
This
is
shit
going to
saving
be
people's
speaking on the
lives.
call this week as well with Wade. So we'll make sure, the person who invited you to this call, for everyone who's listening in, you can get